We can always find international students in our campus. And among this group of international students, Chinese students usually make up the majority. You may be curious about this phenomenon, but the reason is not just because China has the most population in the world. As a Chinese international student, I'm going to explain it with 4 reasons: the history background, economic development, academic factors, and parent suggestions to help you understand. The first reason I would like to talk is the history background. China had been in a feudal society for a long time, and the imperial examination system has existed for 1,300 years in Chinese history since the year 605. The situation has changed since the founding of the People's Republic of China in 1949, and the Asian education system is no longer suitable for a new Chinese society. So, in the 1970s, the Chinese government has decided to send more students and government officials to study abroad. And as Pound said in his article, Higher Education as an Immigration Path for Chinese Students and Scholars, published in 2004, this behavior has become an integral part of Chinese policy of upgrading its educational systems and obtaining the professional manpower necessary to meet the goals of modernization. Then, in 1981, the National Education Commission, which is also called the MOE now, came out the first document about allowing Chinese students to choose overseas study with their private money. As Huang said in her article, Policy and Practice of the Internationalization of Higher Education in China, published in 2003. This document will dispatch more Chinese undergraduates and graduates abroad. To a certain extent, this shows that studying abroad has become a concern of the Chinese government, and government support is the most important reason for the increasing number of overseas Chinese students. The second reason I would like to talk is the economic development. As Chen said in his article, Choosing Candidates in Graduate School from Afar, East Asian Students' Perspectives, published in 2007, with the sustained economic development of China's mainland, more Chinese families choose to study abroad with more affordable opportunities. This graph shows the Chinese GDP from 1978 to 2012. As we can see, the GDP in 2012 is 142 times that of 1972. Although studying abroad will make students face greater challenges, more opportunities for exercise and the ability to be independent are difficult to cultivate in China. This is the second most important reason. The next reason is about the parents' advice and willingness. As Bud Call said in his article, Choosing a Higher Education Study Abroad Destination, What Mainland Chinese Parents and Students Rate as Important, published in 2009. In mainland China, the role and status of parents need to be recognized. Mainland Chinese parent-child relationships are characterized by the concept of filial piety, or in Chinese we call it 孝亲. On many issues, parent suggestions and ideas have a decisive impact on students' final decision. Some Chinese students even directly let their parents make decisions for them. Considering the situation comprehensively, many parents will choose to let their children go abroad. After talking about the parent suggestions, let's talk about the academic atmosphere and professional associations. As Yang mentioned in his article, What Attracts Mainland Chinese Students to Australian Higher Education, published in 2007, most students think that the most significant reason for them to choose study abroad is to gain an internationally recognized qualification, as they perceived an overseas course was better than a local one. Many Chinese students and parents still retain the idea that the education system in developed countries is perfect, so it must be good for them to study abroad. Facts have proved that there is nothing wrong with this idea without access to the top educational resources in China caused by the domestic fierce competition. They pay higher tuition fees and naturally get a better educational environment and academic atmosphere. Moreover, many Chinese students want to go to the prestigious universities, which almost few world's top 100 universities are in China. So, in conclusion, study abroad is encouraged and promoted by the Chinese government at first, and now it has become a new choice that some Chinese can afford. The better academic background, academic atmosphere in the universities, and more competitive diplomas with parent suggestions have become the reasons for choosing to study abroad. If you would like to learn further, here's the resources you might be use.